Okay, so I've gone through quite a bit. Now the template is actually on the assignment, so you can just download it to start. It gives you the bleed edge, it gives you the safe area, it gives you everything you need for that. Now, as far as the assignment goes, you can create any type of cards, from the standard kind of playing cards, or you can create something more individual. But it's important that I see 4 different cards, 4 different values. So if I were to do, say, Pokemon cards or something like that, it would be, you know, the 4 different starters or something along those lines, so that I could see the different sets there, because they have sets too, it's fire, whatever. There are examples of very old playing cards that go back to the time of the Egyptians. You do not necessarily have to do the mirror, so where you duplicate, because that doesn't always work out. This is not a great example because it doesn't line up. This one's a little bit better because they have lined them up so that they fit within the frame. And it's interesting because they basically have the same picture, but it switches, which is kind of cool. So the idea there is that the cards don't necessarily have to have that top bottom kind of structure. Classic playing cards, like I just showed, I don't know where they went, don't necessarily have that top bottom. Now there are other kinds of cards. There are tarot cards and that kind of thing. There's these kinds of cards. This is like Uno, Royal Revenge. So depending on how you want your graphics to lay out. The one part I haven't covered is the back of the card. The back of the card is important because it attaches all the sets together. So no matter how different your cards look from each other, if the back of the cards unite or have some sort of visual cohesion, then the cards look like they belong together. These can be very complex or very simple. You know, you don't want to have a super simple front and a super complex back. These are interesting. Sorry, ADHD kicking in. That's kind of cool. That actually looks like the text project we just did. And you can use some of your old drawings. You don't have to draw new stuff. If you have stuff you want to use, I would not be upset about that. Adobe Capture, I talked about that a little bit before. Now, the Adobe Capture idea is a really good one because you can take an idea from...
One of the best things about working on the Photoshop team is I always had access to...
It's very loud. None of us really want to hear this.
And it's available on the desktop if you have the world. We can extract color values, we can create vector shapes, we can create brush tips, we can create looks for videos. And what's great is all of this information is available in the other Adobe mobile apps, and it's available on the desktop. I do have some colorful images here, so let's go ahead and choose one of those.
All right, so he's doing a color choice. So let's do shapes.
Sweatshirt. Those are the colors I want.
All right, so he's choosing a palette.
I like the colors.
I don't care about that.
All right. Of course, and turn that in.
Backing this up. All right.
The name, and I've dropped it in the library I want. I'm going to save that color theme. And there it is, right there. Okay, now with shape, the idea
this is what's important for us
is that I can take any photograph and turn that into a scalable vector shape. Those vector shapes will be available as content that I could drop into other applications. And of course, they're available on the desktop as well. Let me show you what it looks like to create a vector shape in here. So as with color, as soon as I touch that, I'll see whatever the camera sees. The trick with this app is to touch the screen to get a preview of that shape. I could choose to invert that, and I could pull the slider here to get
Now,
the
this is great when you're using like your hand
That would bring
drawing and
actually
you
works
want to take your
well
hand
for me to go
drawing
ahead
and bring it into the
with
computer.
that. Now at
Because
this
what
point,
it'll do, it'll
I
turn
have
it
the
into a
option of
vector.
removing anything that I want,
Um,
or I can go ahead
and that way you don't
keep
have to scan
that.
it,
So if
try
I
to
wanted to
convert it, and
remove
do all that.
content from
You
the
can
top,
take it and
just
start
drag
using
my
it right
finger
then.
over that.
So if I have like
Whenever I'm
a
ready, I hit
drawing of a
next.
king or something like that,
And shape will
now
start
I would use
resolving
like a
a
Sharpie
very clean,
to get a nice black
infinitely
line. So when
scalable
I do
vector
this,
shape of
I get a
whatever I've chosen
great,
to capture.
great capture.
So as we zoom
And
in
so
here,
you zoom
we see
in,
that the
you get
beauty
these
of
really
this
nice
now
little edges.
is that it's created these really smooth vector shapes. This is
And that's Adobe Capture. So you could use that in addition to this. Speaking of which, since I'm in mine, dun, 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 let's see what I've got in my Adobe Capture window. All right, so it goes to your libraries. And so if you're logged in, which I should be, so main, yes, I'm aware. So graphics, so this is how it comes in. This machine is just so slow today. I don't know what the deal is. But they'll come in and they'll be like shape, whatever. So let's say this is going to be my queen. So this is just a picture I found on in a sketchbook or something. And so now I can bring it in, holding, you know, I can stretch it out, get it like I want it. Now I'm gonna end up having to mask it because it's not really set up for the right design size. But let's say that's gonna be my queen. Now when it comes in as a smart object. See the little cloud? So I wanna right click and then raster that layer. Now it's a graphic. I can go back here, select that, space, go back to her, map it out, boom, just like that. And then I can proceed to coloring it and doing everything that I want to do to make it into a playing card. All right, so I've gone through quite a bit today. I've set a lot of this stuff up. Now, I've got a due date for the cards of Monday. But now this is really for me one of the first big creative projects that I'm going to ask of you. So get rid of that. Let's get over to Chrome. So this is one of the ones I'll actually pull up each person's cards and look at them and show them in class. So we will have an internal critique for this project. The rest of them I'll show as we get towards midterm or towards the end. I'll show people's work over the semester to kind of show a progression. And when I do the death by typography, if you've got something super hot, I'm obviously going to stop everything and show it. But this is one where if on Monday, when we look at your cards, we might have input, because this is one of the few projects that at the end of your time here at Fayetteville State, when you go to a senior show, this project has actually made it into people's senior shows several times. The reason why I remember that one girl and her player cards is because at the end of her time here at Fayetteville State, she had taken that whole thing and expanded that to, she had every face card for every set, and that was basically her senior show. And so, you could definitely see that her skill in Photoshop and Illustrator, because she used Illustrator for some of it later on, it developed more through the doing. And so this is one of those projects that we're going to talk about, give suggestions, and have an inter-class discussion about. So it is now 10:47. I'm going to go ahead and take any questions, because I've got to step out of Zoom to get Zoom to start downloading the videos to put them up for class. Questions?
Yeah, Professor Chestnut, I actually have one. One on the pass assignment. I had uploaded all 4 of my images, but the last one for the show wasn't the right size, and then I re-uploaded it. But I just wanted to make sure that you had all of my images and not just the last thing I uploaded.
No, it keeps all of them.
Okay, great.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't mind if people upload multiple things, because what I do is as I download them, I put them in folders. It's one of the reasons why I have a hard time going back to Canvas to doing grades, is because I download all y'all stuff into folders, and I can look at it and work and make sure everybody's on task separate from Canvas. I wish I could just do it in Canvas, but.
Okay, and the last question, Professor Chestnut, is for the playing cards. Are we gonna have just a total of 4, one in each suit, like a ace of spades, a king of clubs, a queen of diamonds, and a jack of hearts? You know what I mean? Or is it 4 different ones, like ace, king, queen, jack of spades, ace, king, queen, jack of hearts? You know what I mean?
You're gonna have. Okay. You're gonna have 5 cards total. You're gonna have like a jack of hearts,
gotcha.
King of, so each one would be from a different set, but and the value,
gotcha.
That's relative too. Basically 4 face cards, each one from a different set, and then the last is the back of the card.
Gotcha.
So the back of the card, because that's important to the integrity of the whole deck. I've had people really blow out the face cards, but then the back of the card looks horrible. And it's like, you know, it's like you spend all this time doing these cards and then sell yourself short at the very end. Any other questions? Y'all, everybody else is so quiet. Gotcha. Jason's the only one that ever asks questions. All right.
Everybody else are experts.
Everybody's an expert. That's right. They just sent me mean. All right. I am going to step out of Zoom and shut it down so I can start the download process for the videos. I will be putting them back up online. Today's Monday, so obviously Wednesday, I'm going to be going back over this and adding some more. To not necessarily adding more to the project, but maybe demonstrating some other processes that you might want to apply. Everybody
Hey, Professor.
Yo.
Gotcha.
Ooh, do you mind if we were to take, like, will we be in trouble if we took a more minimalist approach to our card? Like, obviously, I'm not going to turn in a blank card, but I mean, instead of doing like a detailed queen drawing, if I did something else. Like, I have like an astrology theme in my head is what I'm trying to say.
No, I mean, I don't want to say, oh yeah, do minimalism is fine, because then I'll have somebody do white on white or just, you know, box.
Yeah.
But it should have a sense of completion. And in some cases, like with an astrology or an astronomy, I'm not sure what you said, and I know they're completely different. But if you were to do something along those lines, I mean, there's a lot of really cool graphics from both sides that you could incorporate. And also you could put in, I mean, I kind of thinking about the idea that when I talk about the Kickstarter thing, the first time I ever heard about Kickstarter and game design was, there was a science class, or science teachers. They were middle school science teachers. There were 2 of them. And they had put together this idea to put together a board game for the human cell. And they had been doing this board game in their class with just stuff they had made up for years. And they were like, well, this might be something people might like. And so they went to Kickstarter and put it on Kickstarter. And it was moving along slowly. But then they went to a teachers conference. And they had a booth and they showed their board game and everything else. They thought, you know, they were going to make a couple of $10, you know, a couple $100 maybe. They ended up making like almost $500,000 because school districts would go there and they saw this board game and they were like, this teaches middle school students the human cell. And they were like, we have 9 middle schools. We need 45 copies, 5 for each teacher, so the kids can play at their tables. So with something like an astronomy or astrology or something like that, you know, I always think about like the science students here and learning stuff and stuff like that. So I'm just throwing that all out there. But yeah, it should have a sense of completion. And as an artist, that's imperative to be able to know when something's either done, not done, underdone, overdone. I never know when things are overdone. So I save in stages so I can be like, and I'll show something to somebody and they'll be like, okay, you went too far. And I'll go back to an older version.
Okay.
Not that any of that helps, but I have ADHD today and I'm just way out all hyped up.
It's fine. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Who else? Anybody? No. I'm just going to unmute everybody and be like, what are you doing? Roll call. All right. Jason, any last questions? Because I know you always have one or two. It's all good, man.
Yeah, okay. I was holding one back, but since you forced me.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Okay, there was one more thing I was going to say about the assignment. Even though we're doing, you know, the four variations of the cards and everything like that, is there anything that you don't want to see on here, like a no, like stay away from?
No, I'm all for anything. I mean, right now, you know, I guess the great secret is, I'm always, offend me. I don't care. I mean, it's one of those, if you offend me, at least you get my attention. And a lot of times that's what we have to do. I mean, right now, like I could do a whole set on Black Lives Matter. I could do a whole set of playing cards on Black Lives Matter, put them on Kickstarter and put them on Facebook, and people will run and throw their $5 on your Kickstarter, their $10 on your Kickstarter. And I mean, it's opportunistic, but
What isn't in life?
you use what you got. I mean, I'm a firm believer in, you know, making a buck off anybody if I can, if I have to. I say that, but I'm really not. I'm really horrible salesman. But the idea of something like this is, but then you could always donate a portion of your proceeds or whatever. But you know, you make $20,000 and you throw $1,000 towards a whatever.
Pause.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, and it cost you $10,000 to make the cards. You made $9,000 in a weekend. Yeah. Well, it takes a month, but you know, it's all good. But no, there's nothing. You can offend me. If you do offend me, that would be amazing. You just have to tell me, you know, what your target audience is. So, you know, pedophile would offend me. Don't do that.
I'll stay away from that.
Necrophilia, I'm not big on that either. And I guess it's called bestiality, but I guess it should be like bestiophilia or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, any of the aphilias, I would just stay away from them. But anything else? Awesome.
I'm good. I'm tracking. We're good.
All right. Well, I'm going to shut it down. I'll be back on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, and I'm going to go over some more stuff, some more tricks and trades and whatever. And then if you have any questions, like I said, this is a project that while it's due on Monday, it's due for review on Monday. This is like, we'll turn it in and then we'll turn it in again. So just be prepared. All right. Awesome, ladies and gentlemen. I will see y'all on Wednesday. Okay, Chrome. Oh, wait. Oh, Zoom. Stop sharing in video.